Ramily, Ramily. Welcome in to Ramsoholic Season 1, Episode 4. I'm your host, Shay. You can find me on Twitter at Shay Tweeted At. You can find all of our team at Toilets to Titles on Twitter. Today we are going to go over the NFC West positional rankings. I will be ranking each group 1 to 5, and I'm going to try to be as non-biased as possible. You guys already know the drill. You can find all of our content, including articles, mock drafts, player rankings, and episodes at toiletstotitles.com. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss out on our daily content. And while you're on YouTube, the CFB Nation, make sure to put in the YouTube channel is our sister network, and they bring you daily college football content. Show them some love by subscribing. Throw us an Apple Podcast iTunes review. And lastly, if you'd like to interact with the team, discuss NFL, fantasy football, or college football, or if you just like to get into our weekly mock drafts, reach out to me or Coach at Coach Sheps on Twitter to get into our Gilded chat. Cue the end.
And I can play ball in real life. So when they make it fun, it never work. They think they offended me. I'm dodging that energy. I know who my friends are now. You currently dead to me. This shit gon' last a century. And every time they mention me, increase my life expectancy. Maybe this my destiny. Loved and hated, then hated and loved. Never betrayed to be a thug, but know a couple who hold slugs. Ain't fighting Spider-Man, but everything I'm spitting venom. Had to look in the mirror and get my shit together. Cause sometimes you think it's over, but it's only getting better. Yeah, good friends going with the wind, like Pac said. Legends never die, so we not dead. I'm a fresh white boy, you can call me a pothead. If you say I ain't got bread.
Ooh, man. White Wave. Shout out White Wave. He actually just dropped his mixtape. He's the one that did that intro. He's a local rapper from Fall River, the Massachusetts area. I'm definitely going to have to post his link in the comments so you could check out his mixtape that just dropped. Some super fire there, man. All right, so we're going to start with the quarterbacks in the NFC West. Let me share my screen. All right, so as I mentioned, I'm going to be breaking down every positional group in the NFC West, 1 to 5, with OTAs, camp battles, everything I already discussed in our last episode. The football doesn't really have much going on. You have the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes and some veterans still out there, but not a lot of noise. So I want to be creative, and I feel like the NFC West is one of the better divisions in football overall still. Outside of the Cardinals, it's competitive. So let's get right into it. At number 1, Matthew Stafford, the only quarterback of the group with a Super Bowl. The man was injured last year. We had some offensive line issues. I know there's some people doubting Stafford still, but not only do I think he's the best quarterback in the NFC West, I feel he's the best cornerback in the NFC. There's going to be the Jalen Hurts backers, but he's got some time to prove it. And not everyone can be blessed with one of the best offensive lines of all time. So, my boy Stafford's about to come out this year and throw some bombs. He's ready. He's healthy. He is the best quarterback in this division, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. At number 2, I have Geno Smith. This is a shocker because if I had to go prior to last season, I probably would have had Geno Smith not even on this list. I probably would have had to throw Drew Lock in at number 5 because no one really knew that Geno Smith was definitely the for sure starter. Shout out Nino from Toilets to Titles. He actually was on the Geno Smith bandwagon before the season even started last year. People were like, I don't know about that, but he was right. Geno Smith actually had a great season, led the league in completion percentage, led Seattle to the playoffs. He has Pete Carroll as a coach, who apparently is a QB whisperer on the low. Russell Wilson had great seasons with him. Matt Leinart, USC. The forgotten Matt Leinart of USC had championship seasons in college with him. So, I mean, he could take a quarterback and just make him great. And then you just look at who he has to throw the ball to. Jackson Smith now, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Noah Fant. Not the best offensive line, but Geno Smith's definitely going to continue to do what he did last year. He may not play as good, but I think he'll play good enough to be the second best quarterback in this division. At number 3, Kyler Murray. My opinion, one of the more overrated quarterbacks in football, but I had to put him here. He's undersized, injury prone, likes to just bounce out the pocket a lot and either just run quick and try to get a few yards, or he just chucks the ball up. I mean, he's very erratic. He definitely needs to learn to compose himself more, show more leadership as well. Like Matthew Stafford and Geno Smith showed leadership in their careers. Geno Smith, obviously, this past season. I still haven't seen that with Kyler Murray. It seems like he actually quits on his team when things aren't going his way. I'm not going to bring up the Call of Duty thing with him. Hey, whatever you want to do on your off time, that's fine. I think he definitely has potential to be a better quarterback than he's shown. He got paid, so he kind of has to be. And prior to this past season, people probably would have put Kyler Murray at number 2. I would have too. I still wanted to put him ahead of Stafford, but the potential he was showing with the playoff appearance versus the Rams, obviously they got blown out, but he still got there. They had 11 wins, and now it just seems like everything's going down. He's also injured right now, may not be back until November. And Arizona's looking like a team that's going to be playing for a top 3 pick. They just released DeAndre Hopkins. So Kyler Murray is going to be lacking that alpha number 1 wide receiver. He does have Hollywood Brown to be his new number 1. I really wouldn't say that's a true alpha number 1. Rondell Moore is undersized. He definitely showed some improved skills last year. Greg Dortch. So, I mean, we'll see. At number 4, I had to put Brock Purdy. It was him and Lance. I was stuck between the two. I think Brock Purdy obviously has done better in his career thus far. Lance has been injured. First year was sitting behind Jimmy G. So we really haven't got to see what Trey Lance can do. But based off what I've seen Brock Purdy do, I think he's the better quarterback as of right now. Do I think he's going to start the season? No, because he's injured. So it's going to be Trey Lance's job, and he's going to have to perform. Or if not, they will definitely throw Brock Purdy back in there. I will say one thing. I have him at 4 because I feel that he's not better than any of these other quarterbacks in our division. Great system, great offensive line, weapons. But I've yet to see him. I've seen moments in the Dallas game and the Eagles game, obviously too soon, what he did under pressure. He's very erratic. He's a 7th round pick, last pick in the draft for a reason. So that's expected. And I feel at number 4, that's where he belongs. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers team has probably had the worst quarterback in this division for some time now. And nothing changes this year. So at 5, you have Trey Lance. Like I said, it's a small sample size. This guy hasn't played much football in a long time. COVID happened, and he didn't play much his last year in college. Then as a rookie, he didn't play much behind Jimmy G. Last year, he started, got injured, had a game against Chicago and the Monsoon. So we really haven't got to see Trey Lance get a nice sample size to know what he's really going to be. I mean, he definitely doesn't look like a guy that should have been picked at number 3. This is his probably make or break season. So he's going to get the chance to start. Sam Darnold's there as well. I mean, I could have put Trey Lance backslash Sam Darnold here. But then if I bring Darnold in, then I got to bring in Bennett because I think he's better than him. And I think he has the potential to pass Trey Lance if Trey Lance doesn't show some improvements. He does have the team. He does have the system. So it's a make or break season for him. All right. We're going to go into running backs now. At number 1, I mean, it's kind of obvious you have to put Christian McCaffrey, one of the better running backs in football. A guy that was injury prone for the last few years, and then last year didn't miss a game. Looked like a workhorse with the Panthers, and then traded to San Fran, where he also was a workhorse. Really took on that full-time role for them, splitting touches with Elijah Mitchell in some games that Mitchell was healthy for. But overall, McCaffrey showed he can do it all for this team. He was really Brock Purdy's safety blanket. He was getting them a lot of tough yards. In the Eagles game when they lost their quarterback, he was really relied upon. And then once the Eagles stacked the box, it was hard for him to find lanes and holes. But McCaffrey is still young. I think he's 26 years old. So he's probably a top 3, 4 running back in football still. Some people could say he's number 1, and I wouldn't even argue that. So it was a clear-cut, easy pick, Christian McCaffrey, top running back in the NFC West. At number 2, Cam Akers. Akers came to life last year. It was looking like he was going to be in the doghouse, get traded, possibly get released. And he just went into a zone, 3 straight 100-yard games, really took on that leadership role for us with all the injuries. He was thrown into a horrible offensive line with all the injuries, and he did his thing. You know, I do feel Cam Akers, one thing he does lack is his pass catching ability, and I don't know if that's going to change, but I feel like if he can continue doing what he did last year, that will really help this Rams offense regain its groove. Hopefully we stay healthy, and I think he can easily get over 1,000 yards, and I'd put him as the second best running back in the NFC West. At number 3, Kenneth Walker. I probably put Kenneth Walker at 2, but Charbonnet being there now kind of does concern me in Seattle. They're both very similar, except Charbonnet is a better pass catcher, so I do feel he will lose that work. I feel like that's more of a threat to him than what Cam Akers has. Kenneth Walker definitely came on as a rookie. Probably could have won Rookie of the Year. He missed some time. The offensive line, I really don't trust in Seattle. In that timeshare, it's a possible timeshare with him. So I'm going to keep Kenneth Walker at number 3, but it's very close to passing Akers if he can solidify himself as the clear running back go-to guy and also improve as a pass catcher, similar to Cam Akers. At number 4, James Conner. It's tough because James Conner is a beast, but he's always hurt. He's very injury prone. Of all these guys I talked about, he has the worst offensive line. He's going to go into the season with no Kyler Murray, so teams are really going to pay attention, try to take him out the ball game. They have Ingram there running back, so I mean, Connor, he's good, man. He's definitely had some seasons where he's gotten touchdowns 2 years ago. Even last year, you know, he could score touchdowns, but I don't feel like he's better than any of the guys I have ahead of him. They're all younger. McCaffrey, obviously, probably maybe up there with him as far as injuries, but McCaffrey's just a lot better when healthy. And then at number 5, Elijah Mitchell. This is another guy um, that's injury prone, but he showed some things in his rookie season and then last year as well. He's a downhill runner. He runs hard. He's very physical. That's why the 49ers love him there. Him and McCaffrey together is probably one of the best 1-2 punches in football. It's tough to stop him, and then you have to worry about the speed of McCaffrey. And Elijah Mitchell does have some speed as well. So, it hurts me to have 2 49ers up here in my top 5, but as we go through this list, you're going to see it is a lot because this team is pretty damn deep. So that's it for the running backs. Now, the wide receivers. One of the more fun positions in football now since it's a passing league. And I had to put my boy Cooper Kupp at number 1. To me, as I've been mentioning with these number 1s like Stafford and McCaffrey, not only are these guys top position players in our division, but Cooper Kupp to me is still the best wide receiver in football. That playoff run he had was amazing. Last year he was on a crazy pace as well, up until his injury that we obviously just sat him because we were already struggling with injuries. Cooper Kupp does it all, man. The guy can block, kills you in the slot, takes advantage of those linebackers that try to cover him when he gets in motion. He can beat you on the outside deep. In the red zone, he's just a smart guy, so he knows how to get open. He knows how to read a zone. He has great hands. He's a strong wide receiver. He'll put you on your ass. No problem. To me, Cooper Kupp is just so fun to watch, and I feel blessed to have him as a Ram. Hopefully he could stay upright this season. Last year, he missed time, and he's missed time before in his career. And he's every time he's in there, he plays great. Our first Super Bowl with Jared Goff, McVay, we didn't have Cooper Kupp, and I think that really hurt us in that game because Cooper Kupp could take over games. Him and Stafford won that Super Bowl. He had 3 guys on him. He had bracket coverage. It's just him and Stafford together. That's a great duo that I wish we could have seen more of in Cooper Kupp's earlier years, but we have it now. So Cooper Kupp, clear number 1 in our division. I don't think many people would argue that if they're being realistic. At number 2, DK Metcalf. Guy's just a monster, man. I think with Geno Smith and just in general last year, his route tree just developed better. He wasn't just a deep guy. With Russell Wilson, he looked to always develop that deep ball, hold the ball long. Geno Smith looks to get the ball out quicker. I think we've seen a lot of improvements from DK Metcalf last year. He had more 5+ catch games than he's had in previous seasons. He used to be like a 4-catch, 100-yard guy. Now he's getting more catches, moving the chains. Had a great game against San Fran in the playoffs. They lost, but he did what he could do in that first half at least until that game got out of hand. But DK Metcalf's a baller. His size, strength, and now he doesn't have to worry about Jalen Ramsey no more. So could have a monster season. At number 3, Deebo Samuel. He is more of a gadget guy. I don't look at him as a pure wide receiver. He plays running back. He could do it all, but that is his listed position, so we are going to put him here at wide receiver. Deebo Samuel is a yak monster. He can catch that ball, 2-yard screen, and take it to the house any possession. He's a tough guy, very hard to take down, very hard to get a hold of. It's not a really big passing offense in San Fran. They like to run the ball, so he has a lot of screens. He's running out the backfield. Obviously, when McCaffrey came over, he didn't have to run as much. Deebo got paid, and it was deserved. He's a wide receiver that you definitely want to have on your team. There's a lot of different things you could do with him. Put him in motion, get the defense confused on what's he going to do. If he's in the backfield, play action, throw him a screen, play action, run a out route, put him back on the outside. Yeah, I think he's definitely the third best wide receiver in this division. At number 4, Hollywood Brown. Talked a little bit about him earlier, that he's not an alpha number 1. And I think that's very true. If Hopkins was still in this division, I would put him at number 3, maybe number 2. DeAndre Hopkins is a monster. But Hollywood Brown's definitely had some good games with Kyler Murray last year. He was a top 5 fantasy wide receiver for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And then he got hurt. Kyler Murray got hurt. So I do think we've seen Hollywood Brown improve last year from previous years. He definitely showed, as DK Metcalf, an improved route tree. I think he can continue to improve overall as a player. He will have to until Kyler Murray's back. Not sure if even Colt McCoy is going to be starting for them, so it's going to be tough for him fantasy-wise. You're going to have to be patient with him. And in our division, he is the 4th best wide receiver. And then at number 5, it was tough. It was between Tyler Lockett or Brandon Ayuk. But I went with the guy that's more proven, the guy that's in an offense that's going to pass the ball more. I think Tyler Lockett's a great player. He's undersized, but, man, this guy can get open. He could run out routes so good. And deep balls, man. A fly route, he's getting that ball, man. He could easily burn you for 3 touchdowns in a game. He's done it already, so yeah, Tyler Lockett, 5th best receiver. 2 Seahawks on this list. Maybe Jackson Smith will be there soon. Or my boy Paku. We will see. All right, tight end. So George Kittle, number 1. I think that's clearly obvious. He's a top 5 tight end in football, period. One of the best blocking tight ends right now in football. Very physical. He's a gamer. He can definitely get you aggravated as an opposing fan because the guy can just do it all. He just adds to their offensive line depth as when he's in there as another blocker. He's a 6th blocker for them. And he's not no slouch when it comes to the receiving game either. He can do it all. He's got good hands. He's very hard to bring down. Physical runner. He'll get up after getting a first down and just scream, get amped, get the team into it. Very good tight end. And for sure the best tight end in our division. At number 2, Tyler Higbee. I mean, it was close between him and Zach Ertz, but Tyler Higbee, as of late, has been the better tight end. I think Zach Ertz in Philadelphia had a good run. But right now, I for sure have to put Tyler Higbee. Higbee has been getting hurt a little bit more than I'd like, but when in there, man, Higbee is just a baller. He definitely needs to work on his catching. I notice he has some brick hands. And, maybe that's happening because Stafford just throws rockets. I don't know. But there's no way I couldn't put Tyler Higbee at number 2 here. I would say he's probably a top 12 tight end in football. I think that's fair. Maybe top 10. So at number 3, Zach Ertz. As you're going to hear me mention with these pass catchers, running backs in Arizona, it's going to be tough for them with the offensive line and the quarterback play. This team is definitely going to need him to be a leader, to really get the QB, whoever's there, in line. This isn't the Zach Ertz from Philadelphia. He's definitely not the same. Injuries obviously played a big role in that. He's not going to be as explosive as he was, but I still feel he's good enough to be the 3rd best tight end in this division. Number 4, Noah Fant. This is Seattle Seahawks starting tight end. and they got him in a trade from the Denver Broncos last year. I think Noah Fant is a guy that a lot of people, at least in the fantasy community, were really hoping would blow up in Denver and then in Seattle. But he really hasn't done that. He's been a little bit of an average tight end. Not someone you could really rely on. And now with the loaded wide receiver room in Seattle, they're going to run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. Noah Fant's role will definitely be more limited. Then they have Will Dissly there. So I think talent-wise, he's definitely got to be at 4 for that. But he's going to need to show some production to stay there. Because at number 5, I feel Trey McBride is going to be that guy that's going to – he's at 5 now. But he came on last year at the end. You know, tight ends, rookie tight ends take a while to take off, and that was definitely the case with McBride. He has Zach Ertz there, and that's another reason I have Ertz at 3 because him and McBride may be switching. Maybe McBride could even pass Higbee. I don't think he'll pass Kittle, but he's the guy to look out for. This is year 2 for him. Good blocker, good pass catcher. I'm really excited to see what Trey McBride can do in year 2. And then lastly, for the offense, we're going to do the offensive line. Obviously, I can't do 5. So this will be the top 4 offensive line in the NFC West. Again, my Rams fans, I told you I wasn't going to be biased, all right? So, again, San Francisco is number 1 on this list. They got probably the best offensive lineman in football in Trent Williams, and that's a big part of why I have them here. They lost Brunskill and McClutchy. Whatever his name is, I don't know how big of a loss that is. But this offensive line is the best in our division right now. I do feel, however, the Rams will take that spot over, and that's why I have at number 2. Steve Avella, man, that boy's going to be special for us. You know, the Rams right now they're not setting an offensive line. It's exciting. They're letting everyone earn it right now. Those 5 spots are up for grabs. So I think the Rams are going to have a great bounce-back season for their offensive line, and that's really going to help push our offense back to what Sean McVay wants it to be. And then at number 3, Seattle Seahawks. I know they drafted Cross last year as their left tackle. He had some struggles as a rookie. It's not really the best offensive line. Geno Smith definitely got pressured a lot last year, so I had to put them at 3, and then Arizona is just going to be at the bottom a lot. It's not a good team. The offensive line is very bad. They're going to have poor quarterback play, which is going to lead to poor offensive line production, probably holding the ball too long, not getting rid of it in time. So there you have it. Didn't want to break down position groups for offensive line. I just want to do it as a core. I feel like, you want your offensive line as a group to be judged, and I feel the list here is accurate. If everyone in the comments, that's watching this, if you disagree with anything I say, just go in the comments, talk some junk. Let me know what you would put as your top in all of these groups. And quickly, if you aren't already, please make sure to join our Patreon. Patreon.com/Toilets to Titles. We have a bunch of different levels. Everything's explained there. There's great features you can get, especially if you're getting into fantasy football or if you're in it and you're just busy and you need someone to really help you. Join the Patreon, man. You could reach out to all of us, the whole team at Toilets to Titles, where we'll get you in the Gilded chat, which if you're not familiar with that, it's just like Discord. It's a little server, and you can ask us questions there. You can add us so we get notified. We'll help you out. You'll get in the Frankenstein League. I know a lot of you out there love that league. Spots are filling up quickly, so you'll get a free entry. in there. So make sure to check it out. Show some support. We have merch that's in development as well. We have some stuff now that you can reach out to any of us if you want to get your hands on it. Yeah, so just show some support, and I appreciate you guys. All right, now let's get into the defense. Defensive line. Now, this is what I did as individuals because I feel like there's a lot of individual superstars in this position group, starting with the GOAT, Aaron Donald. I mean, the man sat out the second half of last year. I think he missed like the last 5 games. Well, it was smart. The season wasn't going to plan. Let him rest, get rejuvenated, and let's just try to make some noise this year. So, clear cut, best defensive line in football, best defensive lineman of all time, best defensive player of all time, Aaron Donald. Number 2, Nick Bosa. I mean, the man just went off last year, defensive player of the year. He is a troublesome guy to deal with if you're an offensive lineman. He's lengthy, gets his hands on you. He can really set the edge, not only get to the quarterback, but also stop your running back that's trying to do a toss out to either side. So, yeah, Nick Bosa at number 2. Javon Hargrave, San Fran signed him this year from the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think he's the best defensive lineman in football, but when you're playing with Bosa and the guy I'm going to talk about next, it's not going to be hard for him to get one-on-ones and just cause mayhem in that middle. He played in one of the best defensive lines of all time last year in Philadelphia and really blew up, and now he's getting paid $20 million a year on a 4-year deal. So I definitely think he's the 3rd best defensive lineman in this division and playing alongside Nick Bosa. And at number 4, Eric Armstead is huge. Eric Armstead's just super tall, man. These 3 together, it had to be done in these rankings. Armstead just can bat the ball down so good, man, just because his height, and he's going to be setting that edge opposite side Bosa, but he could rotate around the whole defensive line. So this defensive line might lead the league in sacks, them or Philadelphia. So having 3 of them in the top 4 is no surprise. And then at number 5, I really struggled, but I put in Jaron Reed, the veteran. I think he's 29, 30 years old. He's a run stopper, not a guy that gets a lot of sacks. I feel at number 5, that's fair for defensive linemen in this division. I definitely want to do another one of these rankings come mid-season and compare it to this. And hopefully I get some Rams up in here. But, hey, having Aaron Donald, can't be mad at that. All right, linebackers. Fred Warner, number 1. Do I really need to talk about this guy? He's probably the best linebacker in football. End to end, he has crazy speed. He's a sure tackler, and he could also get interceptions and stop the run. Like, there's really nothing that Fred Warner can't do, and he just keeps getting better every season. At number 2, an ex-Ram, Bobby Wagner. It was unfortunate when he got released, but it's understandable for what the Rams want to do. His age, I believe he's 33 now. And I mean, he balled out last year, the highest rated PFF linebacker, great tackler, pretty much getting slow though, end to end. He can't really cover running backs, tight ends he struggles against in coverage. He's not what he was, but he's definitely good enough to be the 2nd best linebacker in this division. Number 3, Dre Greenlaw. I do not like this guy. Very dirty player, but I told you I'm taking bias out of this and not being biased at all, putting him at 3. I probably could have put him at 2 as well because this guy just cracks. He's not a good cover guy, though. That's Warner more so. But he's definitely a guy that can just lock up that middle. If you're going across the middle, he's going to crack you. So, yeah, Dre Greenlaw, number 3. At 4, Ernest Jones. Heading into year 3, I'm really excited to see the development here. I believe he's going to really be a household name. I have him as our breakout player of the whole season for the Rams. He's getting raves from Morris. So I'm excited, and I feel like at 4, that's very fitting for him. It's a division that has some very good linebackers. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what Ernest Jones does in year 3. And then at number 5, Jordan Brooks. Good cover guy here, too, as well. Him and Wagner. That's a nice duo, along with Warner and Greenlaw. So, yeah, our division has some great dual linebackers going on here. And I feel that at number 5, that's a perfect fit for Brooks. It was close with him and Ernest Jones, but Ernest Jones, I feel, is really going to take that next step. And he showed last year that he improved big time, and now he's going to be a leader. So I'm excited. He'll get a lot of tackles. He'll be relied upon a lot for that. So top 5 defensive backs, cornerbacks, I should say. Number 1, Seattle, I got you. Tariq Woolen, rookie last year, reminds me of Richard Sherman. Long, lengthy, very good in coverage, man. This kid's going to be special. Seattle got a baller. They did their thing in the draft last year, and this was probably one of their best picks that they made last year. Number 2, Traveris Ward. He really started off hot on the season. Then he kind of had some rough games towards the end. You know, DK Metcalf, he struggled against him. But I think he's a solid cornerback, a guy you could throw out there and say, hey, cover the number 1. He really plays close to the line and man-to-man. So Traveris Ward, number 2. At number 3, I'm going with Kobe Durant. Another guy I think is going to be a household name. He is the Rams' number 1 cornerback right now. It's a lot of pressure taking over for Jalen Ramsey, but if you're a Rams fan, you've been watching OTAs, he looks very confident. His defensive back room and the defense in general looks very confident, excited. You know, this season for the Rams is like anyone really has a shot to get some serious snaps and become a starter. And I think Kobe Durant's going to do his thing. You know, he had that pick 6 last year, 3 interceptions on the season. As I mentioned in my previous video, he does need to work on his tackling, but cover skills-wise, Durant is special, man, and that's why I have him at number 3. At number 4, Devin Witherspoon, rookie. So this is all potential, but, you know, you should check out our guys at CFB Nation. They'll tell you all about him, and he's the first cornerback drafted out of Illinois. I think he's definitely a guy that could probably go up to number 2. Him and Woolen might be the best cornerbacks in this division, but him being a rookie, I'm gonna take it a little hard on him. I'm gonna keep him at 4, with obviously the potential when I do my mid-season show to go up, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Just not against my Rams. And then at number 5, Marco Wilson. This is the number 1 cornerback for Arizona. I think he's a pretty damn good player as well. It was tough to not put him above Witherspoon, being a rookie and all that. Watching Witherspoon's film and the potential that I see, I just had to put him at 4 and Wilson at 5 and lock up that top 5 cornerback, NFC West. And safeties. Buda Baker, number 1. Man, this dude's a monster. Hit, speed, interceptions, does it all. He's the leader on this defense. He's their captain. He is the heart of Arizona. If I was an Arizona Cardinals fan, I would have his jersey already. I'd have had both of them, even after the number change. I do remember when Cam Akers knocked him on his butt. That was nuts and hard to do because Buda Baker is so good. He's just a hybrid safety that could just cover and take out a tight end as well. Number 2, Talanoa Hufanga. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. First name. This guy can hit. He looks like a baby Troy Polamalu out there. He's in a great system for a safety because he could just come off the edge and blitz. And you already got those guys on the defensive line pushing their guys over, and it's just mayhem. He'll get an interception to the house. He definitely has the potential to move up to number 1 on this list. He's younger, and he's on a better defense, so that's definitely going to help him out. But he's a good tackler. Quandre Diggs at number 3. Diggs is a solid safety. I'm not going to say he's a great safety. But I think he's good enough to be at number 3 here. Julian Love, they just got him from the New York Giants. I really like this dude, and if the Rams weren't in that not signing anyone mood, I think this was a guy I would have loved to see come to LA, since that's probably our weakest position group, safety. But hey, that gives them a nice tandem there in Seattle. They have Jamal Adams as well, but he's always hurt, and I think he's super overrated, so I couldn't put him in my top 5. So I just put Julian Love. And then, ended with Jordan Fuller. Missed last year, but, man, that dude can tackle, and he's so smart out of Ohio State. His IQ, he's going to be relied upon big time with this young secondary. From what I've seen so far in camp, he's taken on that leadership role. So I'm excited for Fuller, man. I'm hopeful he can move up this list. It will be hard because there's a lot of good safeties, but he's young, and we're really going to need that help and for him to have another 100 tackle season. And then lastly, we have to go with the coaches, right? Because in football, coaching matters. At number 1, Sean McVay. To be on this list, to be ranked where I'm ranking them, you need that Super Bowl, right? Because this division has 2 Super Bowl winners. So at 1 is McVay, the more recent Super Bowl winner, over 60% win percentage in his career. Even after that debacle last year, made it to 2 Super Bowls, 3 NFC West titles, and he took over a 4-12 team and led them to the playoffs in his first season. He really made Jared Goff who he's become and who he was. Sean McVay is such a great coach. Players love to play for him. He's a genius when it comes to offense and play design. So I think there might be people that might want Pete Carroll at 1 if you're a Seahawks fan. But I think in general, McVay's a top 3 coach in football. So number 1 for me. Number 2, Pete Carroll. As I mentioned, this division has 2 Super Bowl winners, and that's how you're going to get placed here. And Pete Carroll's done a great job in Seattle. Last year was supposed to be a rebuild, and they made the playoffs. He made Geno Smith a superstar in his own right. He's put together some big wins with a roster that has a lot of holes in it, and he's been killing the draft. And the guys he's getting, he's making it work. So Pete Carroll, number 2. Number 3, Kyle Shanahan. I think he has potential to be a better coach, but he needs that Super Bowl. The team's loaded. I get it. He hasn't had a quarterback, but it doesn't seem like he's in a rush to get a quarterback. Seems like he's always content with what he has, and then it bites him in the butt. So he's a genius when it comes to offense. Up until playoff time, seems like he really gets nervous, doesn't really duo was working for him in the previous weeks in the regular season. So he needs to get a Super Bowl ring, and then people will probably have him higher on their lists, and maybe I will as well. But it's a great division for coaching. And then number 4, Jonathan Gannon, rookie coach, head coach. He's coming from the Philadelphia Eagles, the defensive coordinator. He has his shoes filled. He's already clearing house. He's trying to rebuild his team. I think there's a big potential that if they have a top pick next year, they go Caleb Williams and let Kyler Murray go in a trade. So, I mean, there's no way you could put Gannon ahead of any of these 3 guys. He has to prove it, and I don't think he's going to prove it for a while because, well, there's not much he has to work with. So that's it, Ramley, Toilet Tribe. Top 5 position groups. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. As I mentioned earlier, make sure to like this video. The last video had over 1,000 views, so I want to thank all of the Ramley, all of the Toilet Tribe. Thank you all for tuning in, showing support. It's greatly appreciated. We have a lot of great content right now. Cowboys content, Jaguars content, Packers content. So if you're a fan of a team, it's here. I know Justin also does all the teams, and he gets people on his shows that are fans. So go to our videos, check out our videos, go to live, check out our lives, shorts. Shorts are every day. There's multiple shorts being posted. We love sports here, football, college, NFL. Make sure to join the Patreon. And Ramley, I'm out. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. One love. See ya.
It's 4 a.m. in New Bedford, I'm getting my shit together. City just ain't safe, these kids down for whatever. Letting the lead fly, they flocking just like a feather. I couldn't stay there forever, career not getting better. I ain't no rap, but can't imagine not getting cheddar. They posting pics in their base models, not even leather. It's not even leather. It's 4 a.m. White, wait. The city just ain't safe. I'm still here, nothing changed.
What's up, Title Tribe? We appreciate you watching the show. If you want to catch up on all of our college football content, make sure you subscribe to the CFB Nation by clicking their link below. Make sure you subscribe to the Toilets Titles Podcast Network by clicking our link below. And make sure to catch our other content by watching these videos to the side.